Welcome into Locky Top Sports. It's the Tennessee Vandy reaction. Coming live with your boy Josh, Andrew, and Naveen. Naveen's a little under the weather tonight, so that's why I'm going to lead off the show. But man, I bet Vandy is probably feeling worse than you right now, Naveen, after the absolute barrel job that I called last night on the podcast that just happened to them. Tennessee showed absolutely no mercy. They were wrecked from start to finish. It's literally the worst defeat Vanderbilt has suffered from the hands of the Tennessee Volunteers in over 10 years. The Tennessean, the newspaper there in the state capitol there in Nashville has already started the fire the coach. And oh my God, how in the hell did we get beat like that tonight at the Tommy Bowl by the school that has all the regular people at it? But yeah, Beauregard and all the Vandy boys took that L tonight, and it couldn't happen to a better group of people. So Andy, walk me through it. What did you see start to finish? How Tennessee started strong and then just continuously kept the foot on the pedal all the way through. And we got to see a lot of guys get meaningful minutes tonight.
Sure. Yeah. One thing that really stands out to me is the assist number. Tennessee as a team had 28 assists. Vandy had 8. Just think about that. 28 assists. That is crazy. Shot very well from the 3. And I think it's a byproduct of Dalton realizing the coverage and dishing it out whenever the double came. Zakai, fantastic tonight. For example, the last play of the half where he started driving when the game clock was winding down, he kicked it out to Vescovi, wide open, and Santi drained it for us to end the half. Just like the quality of the shots, I felt like was very, very, very good today. And, like as a basketball analytics guy, I'm sure like someone like, Ken Pomeroy or even like a Bill Simmons, like, whoever it may be, like when they see games like this, they love it. They love it. It's just a fantastic ball movement. Again, like 28 assists. That's crazy. They created a lot of opportunities of turnovers. Vandy had 19 turnovers. 19 turnovers. That is crazy. Just absolutely smothering, just everywhere, length, the switch, pick and roll defending at the rim. It was just like a perfect game we could have had. It was a large spread, 19 and a half. It initially opened at like 21, dropped down to 19. The funny thing is the public was still on Vandy, 73%, I think, at the time I checked just before tip off. And as you guys might know by now, I usually go the opposite of whatever public's doing. Sometimes it works.
Fade the pub, baby.
Doesn't.
Fade the pub.
But FTP, it's a strategy not proven to work all the time, but it generally works. So was my homerism plus the strategy, it was a perfect night.
Yeah, I mean they were playing Inner Sandman. They had the purple glow sticks and everything before the Vandy boys walked out. I mean, they were probably pissing down their legs. They were terrified. They didn't want anything that Tennessee had to bring tonight. And Rick and the boys were bringing all the smoke. Naveen, yeah. What's your rapid reaction to this?
Perfect game. If we play like this in March, we're gonna make Final Four. And I think that we had really, really solid distribution of the basketball. Dalton only had 14 points, but this was our best game.
Yeah.
Right. So that's my reaction. It's like you shared the ball. Nobody got stuck in any offensive droughts at all. And we played lockdown defense.
Yep. Everybody in double digits, all the starters. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean there was very few secondary scoring options for Vanderbilt too, man. Like Vanderbilt's offense struggled immensely for the first 30 minutes. I think they barely got to the 20-point mark in the first half. I mean, regardless of, I'm wearing orange and yeah, I love how Tennessee plays, I mean, that's a given, but my God, doing that to another Division I team, regardless of who it is, holding them to 20 points. I mean, that was the second least amount of points scored in a half in SEC play this year. So, hats off to Tennessee doing the JOB. Like I called yesterday during the pod, and man, it makes you feel good to do that in front of your home crowd, and especially to an in-state rival like Vanderbilt. I think Jerry Stackhouse and his team had probably gained a little bit of confidence because they beat a Texas A&M team last week that had beat Tennessee in the manner that they did when we went down there last Saturday. And I'll tell you, I think if you look at how we played last week in retrospect, and then apply like how we've looked the last two games, it's almost like that was like the wake up call I think Tennessee needed in order to start performing to the level that we all expect them to. So with that, that one seed conversation starts sprinkling back into all the Tennessee combos now. Especially we've seen other teams in the top 10 kind of fade off, and lose some games this week. So it kind of opens that possibility for Tennessee to get their first one seed in program history. So kind of talk to me about that, Andy. What are your thoughts with Tennessee? What do we need to do to continue our momentum? And we have Missouri coming up in a midweek game this week. We don't want to look past them, but what do you think the keys are for us to continue the momentum? And then obviously, what are your thoughts on how we navigate the route to land on that one seed line going into March?
So, in my opinion, at least like based on where things stand right now, the 3 1 seeds are locked. And that is Purdue, Connecticut, and Houston, especially after Connecticut routed Marquette today. Houston, looking at their remaining schedule, I don't think there are a lot of threats for them to start losing, dropping games here and there and then potentially falter out of that 1 seed line. Same goes for UConn. Like UConn's schedule, very soft. And we look at UConn's like strength of schedule on KenPom, it's like 70. For reference, Alabama stands at 4, Tennessee at 7, Purdue at 2. So I feel like, it's unfortunate, but it's kind of like it's almost like a Big 12 team, like a Oklahoma, back in those like Baker days, kind of getting into the playoffs. You sort of maintain that. Obviously, there's a catch that FSU this year didn't make it, but they also various circumstances surrounding that, like they couldn't move the ball against Louisville with the backup quarterback. So maybe it's a bad comparison, but still, I feel like when we look at like bunch of different metrics like wins versus quadrant 1, quadrant 2, their efficiency margins. So it really, Houston, Connecticut, Purdue, in my opinion, are locked. So that leaves Auburn, Arizona, Alabama, Tennessee, and North Carolina fighting for the last number 1 seed spot. North Carolina has the head-to-head versus Tennessee, so that could be a tiebreaker if they continue to roll. But they've been kind of shaky recently. We'll see how that goes. Auburn's not looking too good against Kentucky right now.
No,
sorry, you guys.
They're down.
Auburn.
They're down
Bruce
bad.
is letting me down a bunch, unfortunately. And then Alabama,
Brucifer and the Bruciferians out there, they're not having a good night down in Auburn.
It's not a good night, especially when you see, the NBA, future NBA players in Reeves and Dillingham
Broom.
just going ham.
Broom not really doing much tonight.
Yeah, it's nasty right now. But so let's just say Auburn. And let's just say if Tennessee can take care of Auburn or Alabama, it just really right now, we just have to take care of the business. If we beat Alabama, if we beat Auburn, to kind of take care of them, and then really the only team that we're competing against is Arizona. And I think strength of schedule argument might just push Tennessee past Arizona.
Sure. I agree with you there with the strength of schedule. Naveen, what are your thoughts about outside of Tennessee and Alabama? I think it's basically a 2-team race at this point in the SEC. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think seeding and SEC tournament not necessarily related to each other, but I think that ultimately, I want a good resume and a strong end to the year because our last 5 games is our simulated tournament. That's how we should feel about it. If we can win 5 games in a row, we can get to Final Four, we can get to championship games, that kind of thing. I don't think we should lose focus. We got some road games, we got some home games. Like it seems like we take care of business at home, but on the road, still some questions. And I think that ultimately we need to be prepared and rebound. Everybody that's tall was rebounding today. Shooters were shooting. I think the roles were good today. So I think we need to continue and everybody stay in their lane, and we'll be able to succeed.
Yeah, I like that line of thinking. I think that's going to set us up well going into the NCAA tournament. I was about to say SEC tournament. I mean, I know that comes first, in chronological order. But we all three, I think, agree SEC tournament's kind of mid, right? I think we could do with that. We could kind of do without exhausting ourselves.
It never mattered. The committees never really took the SEC tournament results seriously. We beat Kentucky and we beat A&M to win the SEC a couple years back.
And still got a 3 seed.
Yep.
And Kentucky got the 2 seed. So it's like, yeah, we all know it doesn't matter. It only mattered to us because we hadn't won it in 40 years. Right.
Yeah. So it makes sense. It makes money. So that's my
absolutely.
Answer. Hey, in my opinion, hardwares means something. Trophy case. I don't care. You could call it Mickey Mouse tournament, whatever it is. You win something. Hey, that's a hardware, a banner that will hang forever.
Yeah, fair enough. So I know we kind of talked about Tennessee, and I know we're trying to react to what we just saw.
Can I bring 2 things before we move off Tennessee?
Yeah, go ahead.
One, really glad to see Santiago fucking Vescovi back in action. Oh my god,
Santi, my man! Woo! I'm glad to see you back, dude. Let's give Santi. Let's give him an applause, man.
Yeah,
we've been riding that guy really hard for the last few weeks. Deservingly
12
so,
points.
Hey, man.
4 of 6 shooting from the field, 4 of 5 from the 3. I mean, a lot of those were like just nasty assists from Zakai or Dalton. But it also shows like they still trust him, right? Like he's a leader on that team, and they know, hey, like I'm gonna penetrate, and when the double comes, I'm gonna kick it out. And Santi hasn't been able to deliver, unfortunately, but he's I was just glad to see he had a very productive night today, just to boost his confidence, and hopefully this is like a building blocks for him. On the opposite end of the spectrum is Jordan Gainey. Today 1 point, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 1 turnover, 0 for 6 from the field. So it almost like swapped there a little bit, but
had that.
But I don't doubt Gainey has that J.R. Smith like confidence. He's gonna fucking fire it. He's gonna fire it when he gets the ball. So I'm not as worried. But Santi, because we've noticed when he gets the ball, he's wide open. He doesn't shoot it. He passes it, or like he starts dribbling and try to take a mid-range. And we all wanted to see him sort of rise to the challenge and say, you know what? I'm a good 3-point shooter. Let me just fire it. And tonight I felt like we saw a glimpse of that. So hopefully this is a start of a resurrection.
Even Triple J, he had some good shots there from behind the arc, and it looked like he stopped being gun shy. So that was pretty cool, man. Yeah. So tip of the cap to the Vols tonight for doing what they should do against teams like Vanderbilt. And yeah, man, love seeing that against the Vandy boys. Hopefully that we can do that moving forward in baseball against the Vandy boys as well. So, but yeah, so let's switch gears a little bit. I want to talk to you guys about really the threats to Tennessee's chances of winning the regular season SEC championship, which in my opinion, I think matters more than the tournament, right? When we talk about, what Andrew was saying as far as, building the trophy case, right? Right now, we have a game that's kind of out of reach, I think, for Auburn at this point. I think they're down 13 to Kentucky right now, going into about 4 minutes left in the second half. Auburn, Alabama, I think those are the only two teams left. I know South Carolina's still hanging around, but I think South Carolina's Cinderella run is kind of run out. What do you think Tennessee has to do in its last few games here against the scrubs? Do we want to continue to see starters out there as much? And then let me ask you, do you think it favors Tennessee that we played this week schedule while everybody was going through their gauntlet, and then we only have that last little bit at the end of the regular season to play Kentucky, Auburn, South Carolina, and Alabama to close it out? Because it kind of gives us a conditions check on like, hey, this is the win and loss record that we need to beat in order to win the regular season crown. And it's almost like, our discussion on the Super Bowl overtime. Like, do we want it second, or do we want to receive the kick at the beginning of overtime? So, Naveen, let me get your thoughts on that. Do you think we're set up good for a run at the end here, or do you think it favors our other team? And then for the matchup against Missouri and A&M next Saturday at the Tommy Bowl, if we get in another blowout like this, would you like to see some starters rest a little bit more and get some experience off the bench?
Yeah, I think particularly for the guards, I want the guards on the bench to be very comfortable with like hard defensive pressure. So particularly, I want them to face South Carolina guard defenders. They were very good. Like, although they lost today, they're still excellent on ball defenders. Like, I don't think it's necessary for let's say Kentucky, because I mean, honestly, they're going to get cooked by Dillingham. If we play backups versus that kind of style, I'm not too interested in that. I'm also interested in Adu matching up against Dominican Dennis Rodman again, because I think he owes him some. I think he owes him a little bit of thunder.
Payback. Yeah.
Because like he got outworked, 17 rebounds last time versus 5 or 6. That's just not a good effort. But yeah, like I want the matchups to be tested. And I want Rick to practice.
Realize that,
yeah. I want Rick to realize that, like, we're in the tournament now. We're fucking around for 1, 2, 3, or 4. It's not that big of a deal, honestly. One versus 2, maybe 1 to 4. You can argue, but 1 versus 2, I don't think it's like necessary to, wear out your starters just to accomplish that. I'd rather it be more balanced, and specifically, I want people who play like 20 to 25 minutes to get comfortable, getting pressed, dealing with difficult situations so that they're ready when the time comes.
Andy, what about you, man?
I guess I got to stick with my what I said earlier. Trophy cases matters. And with basketball, we have a weird situation, unlike football, right? Like where we have the regular season champion, and it's recognized as such. And then you have the tournament champion, it's recognized as such. When we won the conference tournament in 2022, that was like the first time Tennessee's won it since like 1979. So been a long time, right. And I feel like that was needed. It's like a nice feeling of accomplishment, and you can use that in your recruiting videos and stuff, like them cutting down the net.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce Pearl. I mean, all the Bruceferians that love Bruce from his time at Tennessee. I mean, he didn't even accomplish that.
Yep.
So
but
Rick Barnes has that feather in his cap.
Exactly. But I will say the regular season championship, and when we look at that, Tennessee's won it in 2018, so that's the Grant Williams years.
But they were co-champs.
Yeah, and then 2008 and 9. And then 2000. So really, like, Tennessee hasn't been that dominant force. And I kind of like want to make a parallel comparison to soccer. When you guys watch soccer, European soccer, there's a league championship. And it, once you reach a certain number of wins and points, wins give you 3 points, draws give you 1 point, loss gives you 0 points. mathematically, there is a point in which you reach that where other teams cannot surpass you and you get crowned as a league champion. Maybe it's not as glorious because you kind of feel like, like there's no playoffs or whatever. But that's just kind of how it works because they value that. And then obviously there's like a Champions League or FA Cup where it's like a one game and done, very similar to American format of playoff games, which is also valued very highly. But you look at the soccer approach and tell me, like, for example, like a team like Man City that won Premier League, how many years out of since Pep Guardiola got to Man City, or like a Barcelona in the years that he was there. It just feel like it has to mean something. And it's the same with baseball. Like, when you win the pennant, it should mean something because the variance is what gets all of us excited, right? Like as sports fans, we love the drama. We love the playoffs. And America eats it up. And that's why NFL playoffs is one and done. You just do one game. March Madness. People love it. Just one game. Boom. You maximize the variance. So it's fun. But at the end of the day, can you give some respect to the team that did it day in and day out? I think so. And that's something that Rick Barnes' team has not been able to do. Like only winning the co-champ note in 2018. So what do we need to do? We just got to beat them. We just got to beat Alabama, Auburn. We beat South Carolina when we visit them. And all of the tiebreaker shit will be sorted. They're going to get all the extra number in the L column. It's that simple. So I feel like now they have the key. They're the ones driving it. As long as they keep winning, it's not like they're far out from the race where they have to rely on some miracle. Like, only if that team beats this team and then we win. None of that. None of the weird mathematics. The discrete mathematics. It's only as simple as we win. We beat Auburn. We beat Alabama. Boom. We're gonna be the champion.
Well, I think winning, if we win all those games, to your point, yeah, that sets us up for success. Mm-hmm. But I will say this: our next two games are against Missouri and Texas A&M. What I'm asking Tennessee to do in those two games is go out there and perform like they did tonight to really, really, really tighten up the Auburns, the Bamas, the Carolinas, and the Kentuckys of the world. Because, Alabama already knows what we did to them earlier this year. Kentucky also knows what we did to them in Rupp. Showed them all 50 states when we bent them over the barrel. We owe South Carolina, and we've had Bruce's number, right? And we get him in the Tommy Bowl, right? We don't have to go down to the jungle and play on the plains there in Auburn.
Yeah, so, bring out Candace Parker, bring all the good juju.
Bring it all out. Yeah. So, my thing for Tennessee, we can't have any hiccups. That means we can't bolo one of these games against Mizzou and A&M, right? We only have one more dud on the road, and that's Missouri coming up on Tuesday. So with 6 games left in the regular season, Naveen, what do you think Tennessee's record is? I think we're going to wind up going 5-1 because I don't see us running the table, just being a realist. I don't think we'll lose to Missouri or A&M, but that 4-game stretch of Auburn, Bama, South Carolina, and Kentucky, and I just think that's a real murderer's road there to end the season. And fatigue will be sitting in. But like I said, those teams have been playing a lot of heavy hitters coming into this stretch against Tennessee. All right. So what are your thoughts? Do you think Tennessee runs the table, goes 6-0, or what do you think their record is in this upcoming 6-game stretch?
4-2 or 5-1. I think one of the road games we're going to lose potentially.
So Bama or South Carolina, those are our road games.
Most likely Bama will lose. Auburn is, I think, a little bit tough for us, but I don't know. I don't want to call it yet. So 4-2 or 5-1.
Okay, Andy, your thoughts? What is our record when we close it up on March 9th?
It's funny because I happen to be wearing a U.S. Open tennis shirt, so I'm gonna borrow, a fun phrase, or I don't want to say a phrase, but like established noun or whatever you want to call it in tennis. I'm gonna say bagel, baby. Bagel.
6-0, huh?
6-0.
Let's
6-0.
go. 6-0.
Boom. Let's go. Bagel. We're gonna be serving. And hey, I'm from New York after all. Oh, I'm not from, but I live in New York. This is the longest I've lived in a state, at least within America. My
You're a New Yorker.
journey in America, I love Tennessee. Don't get me wrong, but
I'll let you claim it, man. You're a New Yorker through and through, man.
Right,
all right?
I am, and hey, that's where we're gonna use that terminology and say bagel, serve it. 0 bakeries open. Boom! It's 4 a.m. You walk up to your bodega, you wake up at like 6 a.m. You you shower, you throw in your clothes, and you go to your bodega, and you see your guy. It's like, oh, buenos dias, hermano, and then you order your usual, bacon, egg, and cheese, salt, pepper, ketchup on a bagel. Boom! That's how you start your day as a New Yorker. And I want to say, we got 6 games left. Beautiful. 6-0. Let's go. It's a bagel, baby. It's a bagel. It's a lock. It's a bagel.
So maybe a parlay here?
I mean, could be. So why don't we try something like this? Why don't we draw a unit next game? And then whatever we win, we draw the entire, the original bet plus the winning into the next game, into the next game, into the next game, right? Let's see how it goes. It's like it's kind of like when Christian McCaffrey had the touchdown streak. Now, every game, you knew he was gonna get a touchdown.
Sure.
But were you afraid to pay the price for it? Yeah, I think so. A lot of people were like, "Oh my god, like to get a touchdown is like minus 250. Are you serious?" But guess what? Boom. He breaks the NFL record of consecutive touchdowns. So, I think it's possible. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do that, and I'm going to leave it out for you, all of you guys, that I will do that starting our next game. And just for like the sake of making the calculation easy, I'll throw $100, and then let's see if we are able to parlay that on for 6 games.
All right, man. Good. So I'm throwing up Tennessee's schedule here. So you're saying, are we going to go money line, or are we going to go straight up? We're going to go
money line. Because I like spread is a tough thing to do. Obviously, like beating the spread is like that tough. But also, arguably, right? You guys all predicted like 4-2 or 5-1. So I'm for the sake of like making this pod fun and for the debate to be like frugal, like I'm just gonna say they go 6-0, sweep them, get the 1 seed.
So
let's see.
Here we go, man. Andrew Kim out here calling a bagel New York style 6-0 to finish up the season.
Yeah, man. Bacon, egg, and cheese with a salt, pepper, ketchup.
Gonna drop a solid hundo on the Tennessee Mizzou game.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge
to parlay that all the way in, and then obviously the Vols wind up on the 1 line.
Yeah,
when the bracketology is unveiled on Selection Sunday.
Joe Lunardi is gonna be like, oh shit, they finished their season 6-0. Gotta respect it.
Okay, man. Well, I mean, you heard it here first. Andrew Kim, bold prediction, hottest take I think we've ever had on the show, man. Locky Top Sports,
6-0. 6-0. Bagel.
All right. So I want to close it up with this. This is a great night, but not a lot of reaction for a baby club sealing or baby seal clubbing, whatever you want to call it, like we did to Vanderbilt tonight.
It's not a primetime game. We're on SEC Network, not ESPN.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
we were on like a 4-week streak, I think, on a Saturday night being on
late
ESPN.
night. Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you're a top 5 team in the country, consistently like we are. Sorry, Kentucky and other haters out there. But let me spice this up. One more little leg to the parlay.
Okay.
Dalton Connect, excuse me, Dalton Connect named SEC Player of the Year in Tennessee goes 6-0.
But I don't think that's spicy at all. I think it's already a lock. Come on.
You think so?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
If it's National Player of the Year, honestly, because of the Zach Edey and the numbers he's putting up, whether I agree or disagree with how he's been playing and the soft whistles he gets, that's outside of the question. But like, he's the front runner, sure. But when it comes to the SEC, I mean, it's a wrap. Come on.
You think so? There's nobody close?
Nah, not even.
Oh, that's music to my ears, but I still like to sprinkle it in there just to see. I mean, we have some other contrarians out there that I think that guy up at Kentucky's a stud. So I think that
I
Reed
mean, like,
kid.
who do you think can win the Player of the Year? Like Reeves?
Or Reeves,
He's the only one, right?
He's the only one. But they
only one.
talk about it. They talk about him a lot.
Yeah.
And well, it's a final now. Kentucky took Auburn behind the woodshed 70-59. So it's a wrap. So anyway, I appreciate everybody that tuned in. I think this was our largest reaction show that we've had as far as viewers at one point in time. So hey, the brand's continuing to grow. We have some great takes here tonight, especially a nice hot one there by Andy to close us out. But
bagel, baby.
Bagel. Continue to like, subscribe. We want you to interact with us. I know some of you, it might be your first time that's watching us tonight. But yeah, you can comment on this. We'd love to see your comments. That way we can kind of get to see what you guys think and interact with you guys. And
I'll mention two things before we wrap. One, we had a rough day today, honestly, in terms of the picks. But even so, 37-24, we're still hovering around 60%, which is pretty good. The other thing is I want to take this opportunity to plug in personally, Josh. He's expecting a daughter today, tomorrow. We don't know, but
shout out to my wife, Kayla.
Wishing all the best. To the and we'll see. It could be tonight. It could be tomorrow. We don't know, but I can't imagine what that's like. So huge congrats and thanks to Josh for coming on tonight and doing this. Really appreciate it.
Hey, anything for the team. I appreciate it, Andy. All love, my guy. And we'll definitely keep you guys informed on Baby Watch. So hey, right. For Josh, for Andrew, for Naveen, he had to head out. I know he's a little bit under the weather and he had to slide out, but hey, Lucky Top Sports, go to our socials, like us, stream us, do whatever you need to do to get your Vol content that will definitely fill you up with Vol knowledge, but also fill up your pockets with good gambling picks. So again, Josh, Andy, we love you guys.
Follow the numbers here. 37-24. Can't beat that.
Numbers don't lie. All right. So we'll see you guys. Go Vols, and look forward to seeing you on the next stream. Later.